tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ẹ bá mi kọrin. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Ẹlẹ́rù ni. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́ bàbá o. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀, ayérayé. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ògo ni forúkọ bàbá mi. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀, mímọ́ mímọ́. Ògo ni forúkọ Jésù. Jésù, Jésù, wọ́n ní Jésù. Oh, Jésù, oh, Jésù, oh, Jésù. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀ bàbá o. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ayérayé nínú àwọn ọ̀run. Òbìrìkìtì. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Ọlọ́run mi, agbára mi, ẹ̀mí mi, ẹ̀jẹ̀ mi, ògo mi, ẹwà mi. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀ bàbá. Ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Sing it with me. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, agbára mi kọ́. Wíwá tí mo wà láyé, ògo ni forúkọ rẹ̀. Dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Oh, dependable, dependable, dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. You are dependable God. You are dependable God. Dependable, dependable God. Reliable, reliable God. I depend on you totally. Totally, totally, totally. Me alone can be wrong. Me alone can be wrong. Lay it down, down. Reliable, reliable God. You are reliable God. Reliable, reliable God. Reliable, reliable God. Reliable, 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 reliable God. Reliable, reliable God. Come on, just lift your hands and worship Him. He's a faithful God, so dependable, even when you're confused. So dependable, so reliable, so dependable. I have searched and searched and searched. I have seen no one like you. Not dependable, Baba. I'm excited about you. Hey, I'm excited about you. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I can see it anywhere. I can shout it anywhere. You are reliable, Lord. I have seen it in my life. I have seen you work in my life. I have seen your beauty, Jehovah. I have seen your beauty, Jehovah. That is why I have the confidence to project to faithfulness, Jesus. Oh, you are exalted. You are exalted. Come on and sing. You are exalted. Unlimited God. Hey, Baba, you are exalted. You are exalted. You are exalted. unlimited. Hey, you are exalted. You are exalted. Malakosata. Cabeus, unlimited, unlimited. You are exalted. You are exalted. You are exalted. Unlimited God. You are exalted. You are exalted. You are exalted. Unlimited God. Name given above every other name. You are exalted. I lift you. You are exalted. I lift you. I lift you. I don't know what you're going through. Come and lift your worship. Come and lift your praise. Above that situation. Above that problem. Come on. There, you are exalted. You are exalted. You are exalted. Unlimited God. Baba, you are exalted. Jehovah, you are exalted. Oh, you are exalted. 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 Baba, you are exalted. You are exalted. Unlimited above. You are exalted. You are exalted. You are exalted. Unlimited God. Above cancer, you are exalted. Diabetes, you are exalted. You are exalted, Jesus. I don't care what name is called. You're exalted, Jesus. You are exalted, Jesus. You're exalted, oh God. Unlimited God. Monica be your O.C. Olórúkọ ńlá. Olórúkọ ńlá. Monica be your O.C. Olórúkọ ńlá. Àdàgbà máa tẹ̀ pa. Olórúkọ ńlá. Gbani Tansaya. Olórúkọ ńlá. Gbani Tansato. Olórúkọ ńlá. Àtọ̀runṣe àdẹ́dà àmẹ̀dá ayé gbogbo. Olórúkọ ńlá. Olórúkọ ńlá. Ẹ bá mi kí. Olórúkọ ńlá. Olórúkọ ńlá. Jehovah Shammah. Jehovah Nissi. Adonai. Ọba mi ó ga ọkànkè, ó ga ọkànlẹ̀. Olórúkọ ńlá. Mo ní kábíyèsí. Olórúkọ ńlá. Olórúkọ ńlá. Olórúkọ ńlá ló jẹ́.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. God bless you. Welcome to another day. I hope your day is good. I hope you have a fast time. You're having a fast time, and if the day is just starting, I hope it's going to be a brilliant time. So good to have everybody on board. Please help us to like, share, follow, subscribe, and please press the notification button. To everybody that normally goes back to watch, please leave some comment. Let us know where it is that you're joining us from. I really would appreciate some insights, some involvement in the conversation today. So if you can get involved, please, by all means, get involved in the conversation. We're still talking very much about lessons that can be learned from child Q. We've been talking since Friday. I have been talking about Thank you for the hearts. I've been talking about adultification bias. And hopefully, some of us, all of us, by now we have an understanding, a clearer understanding, a bigger understanding. I don't know any one of those that fits of what adultification bias is all about. Let me just make sure, okay, that we are supposed to be live everywhere. So hopefully you can see us on both Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Okay. So whatever it is that you are, the music is still on. It's okay now. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. That's why I'm always told that you are the best Archbishop in the world. No other Archbishop is like yours. No, the others are all fake. They are not real. So I hope you're good, Sister Judith Archbishop. Good to have you on board. So I want to dive right into the conversation, the ongoing conversation that we're having, which is very much about the lessons that can be learned from a terrible, terrible incident that took place almost 4.5 years. Is definitely 4.5 years ago. In December, it will be 5 years. That is December 2020, which is still having a ripple effect. And I think it's going to have a ripple effect for many years to come in our community and in our society as a whole. So, and I'm talking about no other than Child Q. So if you don't know what it is that we're talking about, I've just shed more light. Like I said, you can see the previous conversations that we've been having since the beginning. So, yesterday I stopped on the key characteristics of adultification bias. And obviously, there's no aspect of this conversation that I can say it's nice or is pleasant, but there's some bitter medicine that we need to take because it's good for us and it's going to do us a lot of good. So I feel this conversation is one of those things as well where it's not necessarily a pleasant conversation, but regardless of that, it needs to be had. We need to know, understand, and be able to equip our children so that they can never become victim of such awful, vile treatment. Okay, so I want to pick it up from real environment, real world application, all the places where we can find adultification bias. So I want to start with education, since the incident that we're making reference to us or our base study actually happened within a secondary school. So I've got here that black girls are more likely to be suspended. Notice he's talking about black girls. They are more likely to be suspended or punished for the same behavior as white peers. Again, remember I already told you that part of the identification is the fact that they punish more harshly. They are not given empathy or think that they deserve protection because they have elevated them from the position of a child to an adult. So they are holding them to a higher standard. And as such, they're treating them not as a child, but as an adult. So the information I've got here says black girls are more likely to be suspended or punished for the same behavior as white peers. Teachers may assume they are attitude prone. I want to talk about that. Attitude prone. Again, I'm coming from personal experience. I'm coming about from things that my children themselves have encountered. And if you've been with me long enough, you probably heard some of these stories already. So let me try and break that down. When they say teachers may assume that your black children, they have what is called attitude prone or aggressive rather than being curious or assertive. Now, remember in the example that I said happened last week, or I heard from the mother last week, she was saying how they kept telling her daughter that her daughter was being defiant because she refused to comply to a body search without her parents being present. Now, they didn't say, oh, she understood her right. They didn't see that, she was acting in her own best interest since all the adults around weren't doing that. But what did they say? She said they kept saying to her that she was being defiant. Now, it's the same as when my children, your children decide that, no, sorry, this is not right, and I want it to be done correctly, then they are being difficult. They are being aggressive. And especially, they say, apparently, when you and I speak, apparently we use a lot of hand gesture. And those hand gestures are very aggressive. Now, I watch a lot of people. Many people are very expressive with their hands when they're speaking. A lot of people use their hand when they're speaking. It's not just people of color. But for some reason, when your children and my children use their hand to express themselves or as part of their speech, when they're talking, they're using hand gestures, then it's perceived in a different way. So they say teachers, and remember we're talking about under the education system. It says teachers may assume that the children's they are attitude prone. So that means they have an attitude when they're talking to them. Again, let me share a personal experience. Like I said, I was actually called one time regarding one of my child, and as everybody would be when the school calls you to tell you something about your child, you're always wondering what is going on, what has happened. Only for me to get to the school, and they said, the man said to me, he said, well, when he's talking to my child does not blink. I'm like, what? Said, yeah, when you're telling the child, when they are telling the child off, apparently, the child just look them straight in the eye and the child does not blink. Okay. So what's the issue? I don't get it. I don't understand. That was what I was called for. Was he, it was, what is he trying to suggest? Was he insinuating? So every time you talk to a child or a black child, the child is going to shake in their boots, they've got to cry, they've got to shift their focus somewhere else. I don't understand. Because one of the what is it called? The things that we're taught concerning interview and confidence is that you look at the person that you're speaking to in the eye. So the child is actually looking at you while you're speaking to them, and you're saying they're not blinking, that they just look at you straight in the eye. So I didn't get it. I didn't understand. So what was the child supposed to be doing? So you can imagine how that conversation went down. It didn't turn out the way they thought it was going to turn out. Because hopefully we are all raising confident children, not children that are not bold, not children that are not brave, not children that cannot look somebody else in the eye. It doesn't matter who you are. We will never encourage anybody to go to an interview without looking at the people's eyes that the person is talking to. So when you get a child in primary school, you're talking to the child and the child is looking you in the eye. Apparently that's a problem. That was what I was called for. And I have to tell you, I didn't get any more calls after that. So again, so when they say that teachers may assume that they are attitude prone or they are aggressive, instead of saying that they are curious, which most children are, or they are assertive, we want our children to be assertive. We don't want them to be jelly. That's not what we want. So again, That's another example there. I'm giving real life examples here. Then let's talk about the justice system. What does that look like? What does adultification bias look like within the justice system? Again, I've got black teens are more likely to be stopped, they're more likely to be searched, and they're more likely to be criminalized even when innocent. Standard procedure. I shouldn't have to say that, but sadly, that's what's happening. I know in the UK at the moment we have this issue as to should they continue stop and search, should they not continue stop and search, and all that. And that's because some people have abused the system. They misuse the system. They have a prejudice against certain minority, ethnic minority. So the probability of stopping a certain set of people and searching them is high on one hand compared to another. Why? All men are born equal. So why are certain, so that's why it says black teens. Now notice it didn't say girls. It says black teens are more likely to be stopped, they're more likely to be searched, they're more likely to be criminalized more than just looking at them and seeing them even when they're innocent, just seeing them for a child for who they are. Like I said yesterday, the legal system says all are innocent until proven guilty. But when justification, when adultification kicks in, these are the bias that we see. And it says that in the case of child Q, police saw her as a suspect before a child needing care. I'm quoting that to you, by the way. They saw her, in child Q's case, they saw her as a suspect before seeing her as a child that is needing care. They didn't put her care, even though, like I said to you, she categorically told the officer that she was on her period. That was neglected. She was still told to strip, and she was still told to bend down while they searched her private part. We need to be aware. Honestly, I keep saying this. I can't say it often enough. You have to inform, educate your children. Because naturally, when most of us see authority, especially somebody in uniform, we're just likely to comply. Even things that we're not supposed to comply to, we just believe that they know better, that they must know what they're doing. So when they tell us to jump, we say, how high? But I'm saying, no, that's not what the law requires. So we can inform and educate our children. Now, we've looked at the education, we've looked at the criminal justice. Now let's look at healthcare. I mentioned this previously. Let me read what it says. It says studies show black children are less likely to receive adequate pain relief in hospitals due to false belief that they can handle more pain. Did you hear that? This is a study. Now, I do want, I mean, if you've been with me long enough, you know I don't make up stories. I do my due diligence before I'm sharing anything. So it's a study. And the study shows, now we're not even talking about adult here because they do the same thing for adults. But it says the study shows that black children are less likely to receive adequate pain relief in hospitals. Why? Because of adultification bias. So again, you might just be thinking, this conversation is only applicable to educational system. No, that's why I'm giving all round examples of where you can identify adultification bias. So you can get it in the health service, you can get it in the legal service, you can get it in the educational system. So you need to be aware, and that's why we need to educate our children. So if the nurses, the doctors, the surgeon, whoever they are at the hospital have this prejudice idea or thought that black children are less likely to feel pain, or they can handle more pain. I mean, I don't know which child anybody would look and say, oh, you look like you can handle more pain. So that's fine. We just let you suffer in pain. That doesn't sound right. Regardless of whether they're an adult or a child, it does not sound right. Okay, let me read something to you. What a research proved or showed. A landmark 2017 study by the Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Equality found that adults viewed black girls as less innocent. So it's not just a thought, it's a study that's been carried out. So this is not an ideology. This is not, one prejudice to another prejudice. No, this is not, I don't know what other word I can possibly use. These are studies that have been carried out. They are available in the public domain, so you can find them, search them, and find them for yourself. It says the 2017 study by the Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Equality found that adults viewed black girls, notice we're back to girls, not black children now, black girls are less innocent than white girls as young as 5 to 14. Now, even at 14, you are not an adult. And did you hear? As young as 5. Who looks at a 5-year-old child and say or thinks that because of the color of that 5-year-old child, that child or that black girl can do what? She's not innocent. She's not innocent. How did we get there? No, let me change that. How did they get there? Because that's not the way I think when I see a 5-year-old child. Notice what I'm saying, a 5-year-old child. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking they can feel less pain. I'm not thinking they are less of a child. When you see a 5-year-old girl, how do you come to the conclusion that the 5-year-old girl is not innocent? And this is a study that was professionally carried out, saying girls as young as 5 to 14-year-old are perceived, they are viewed as less innocent than their white counterparts. And I tell you something, for somebody that lives in a area that is predominantly white, that's not what I found. That's not what I found at all. My everyday reality tells me something completely different. But that's what the results of the study shows. It says they were seen as needing less nurturing. So we're still talking, this is still from the 2017 study, by the way, that young black girls were seen as needing less, I want to say, not nourishing. It's not nourishing, it's nurturing. They need less nourishing, they need less protection, they need less support, and they need less comfort. That's quite a lot. That is assumed that young black girls don't need. They need less nurturing. How can you say they need less nurturing, less protection, less support, and less comfort? But that's what the research says. So, again, I'm saying all this, mom and dad, so that, again, when we're equipping our children, when we are talking to our children, we know what it is that we're kind of moving against. You know the reason why you need to educate your children, because the people that they're going to meet out there, they don't think the way you're thinking. They're thinking in a different mindset. So you need to understand that mindset in order for us to be able to help our children. Now, I want to move to the next one. So that's all about adultification, the character, and all those kind of things. And why is it important that we should know? Because adultification, to be honest with you, for me personally, I think it's a dangerous thought. I think there's no aspect of everything that I've pointed out about identification bias that is nice or positive. And that's why I consider it dangerous. It's something that can harm young children. Because when you stop seeing them as children, when you think they need less nurturing, they need less protection, they need less comforting, they are treated more harshly, there's nothing positive about all those things that I've just said. So why do they matter? Because I consider them that it's something that we need to know, something we need to take note of, and something we need to educate our children about. Then he also strip young black children. It strips black children of childrenhood or childhood, because you don't allow children to be children. You're not treating children as children. So you're stripping them of childhood. I think that's wrong. A child should be allowed to be a child, whether they be naughty or not, whether they be good or not. A child is a child, and as such, we should perceive them as a child. Now, if we go back to what has become of this young lady that I told you about, as to this lady in question, because from the next day, this girl stopped going to school. Now, what has become of her education? I don't know. What's become of her mental well-being? I don't know. Because one of the reasons why I consider identification bias to be dangerous is because it causes trauma. It does something to you up here. It damages. And an outsider would do the damage, then you and I have to come and pick up the pieces for the rest of their lives. That is dangerous. So it causes trauma. What else? What does he do? I mean, like the lady that I heard the mother speak last week. The lady said her daughter started distrusting the teachers, the same teachers that that she was comfortable with, and she started distrusting them. So it has a lot of effects, and all of them are negative. There's nothing positive about increased trauma, mistrusting the very people that are supposed to protect you. So that means if you find yourself in danger, then who do you run to? Who do you call upon immediately before your parents arrive? And it can also cause, because of that, like I said, that other lady stopped going to school from the following day. That's exclusion. Is excluded her. I told you she went in for her mock exam. So she's self-excluded. She excluded herself. She couldn't process the whole thing. The embarrassment. So that's why personally I say it is dangerous. I don't think there's anything positive. But like I said, please do let me hear your thoughts. Uh, let me hear if you've, if anybody's got any experience firsthand or anything, please definitely let me hear about it. So that is why I personally consider it. I'm sure there's probably a whole lot of reasons if you check online why adultification bias is a negative thing. It's not positive. You will find it. So please do go. Now, I want to move on to the next one because I said there's two things I wanted to address. I've addressed the first one. The second one is the responsibility of the school. I've been mentioning this a little bit along the way. What are the responsibility of the people that we entrust our children to every morning that they go to school? They have a responsibility. The law says they have duty of care. That's what the law says. Once you and I, send our children off to school in the morning, whatever time that is, until the moment that we pick them up or they come home, the school authority have what? The duty of care to every child that is in that school. So, what is duty of care? Let's unpack what that is. Duty of care in schools refers to the legal, so I'm not making it up. You can go and check this up as well. And I probably think this is universal across the world. Duty of care in schools refers to the legal and moral responsibility that school staff have to ensure the safety. It's a legal obligation. They are legally binding. They are legally responsible. So you can understand in the case of child Q, you can understand how they failed woefully. Honestly, I'm still waiting for a lot of people to lose their jobs. Losing their job is not going to make me happy because it cannot undo the damage that they've already done to this young lady. But it will stop them from doing the same thing to the next child. And if them leaving that job stops them from doing it to another child, I'm okay with that. So as of the moment when I told you those report came out the other week, they hadn't said anything about the school. But that's why I said I don't think this is the end of the case yet. Because the people that called the police were the very people that were supposed to be protecting her. They had already searched her. They didn't find anything on her. Why did they call the police? They have, let me complete, a duty of care to this young lady. And their duty of care to this young lady refers to the legal and moral responsibility that school staff have to ensure the safety, they didn't do that, the well-being, they didn't do that, and protection of students while they are under school supervision. That's the meaning of duty of care. And that's why I'm saying from the moment that you and I drop off our children in the morning, I'm tempted to say afternoon, but I don't know whether anybody goes to school in the afternoon, but I think you get the gist of what it is that I'm trying to say. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, a moral obligation. They are legally responsible, morally responsible to make sure, and it didn't say one person, two person, it says all the staff in the school. Because at that moment, once they've entered the school premise, what has taken place legally is that we have shifted our legal responsibility over to them. That's what we're doing. So, the same way you and I would act in the best interest of our children, for the next 6 or 7 hours that they're on the school premise, they now have that responsibility. And notice what responsibility they have to ensure the safety, to ensure the well being, to ensure the protection of all students under the school supervision. We need to understand that, mom and dad. We need to understand what duty of care is. And that's why I think some head still needs to roll in that school. Because they failed. They failed that young lady big time. And that's why I said the very people that have a duty of care to protect her, to ensure her safety and her well being, they were the very one that fed her to the lions. Why? It makes me to remember another incident that happened to a young lady many years ago. I tell you, I have many of these stories. In one of my children's school many years ago, because they are all adult now and all married and having their own children. This young lady went to school with a super malt. Super malt. How many times have we drank super malt? How many times have we bought super malt? How many times have we seen super malt in the store, in the shop, in the corner shop? This young lady went to school with super malt. Teacher stopped her while she was drinking this malt. Guess what the teacher did? The teacher called the parents. They said the young lady was drinking beer in school. Super malt. They said she was drinking beer in school. They called her parents, her dad specifically. Now, let's be for real. The first thing I was saying on that day, I said, the teacher could have just taken the bottle and read what is written on it. I don't know about you, but most super malt that I've had, or any kind of malt drink I've had, most of them have non-alcoholic drink written on it. It didn't need any phone call. It didn't need validation. All the teacher needed to do was, oh, so, let me see that drink. Hand the drink over, look at the drink. You would have known, even if you look at the ingredients, it would have told you whether there was alcohol in it or not. On the front bottle would have told you, of the bottle would have told you the kind of drink that it is. They called her father. They said she was drinking beer. Now, honestly, you can't make these things up. That's a waste of time, a waste of resources, and you're creating unnecessary bias. How long does it take to know whether a drink is alcoholic or not? But no, they called the parent. Again, I want you to know that these things are not made up. They are real. You see them all around you. I've got written down here that duty of care means that school staff must take reasonable steps to prevent foreseeable harm to students and act in their best interest at all times. Just looking at that definition, that's why I said there's only two things I want to take away from that report: adultification bias and duty of care. Those were those two things that I felt that they were really missing, or they were, one was present that shouldn't have been, and the other one was missing. So what was supposed to be there wasn't there, and what shouldn't be there was there. So duty of care means that the school staff, every one of them, must take reasonable steps to do or prevent foreseeable. You have to think ahead. If you're having a foresight, foresight means to think ahead. So it says to prevent foreseeable harm. Oh, what could happen to this child if I called the police? What could happen to this child? She's the only one inside there. There's no adult to speak for her. There's no adult to protect her. That is the job. The duty care, that is the job of every staff on the school. And they failed. They didn't do that. And that's why I said I still believe heads needs to roll. Because apparently on the other side of the door, while this girl was being strip searched, there were 4 or more teachers on the other side of the door. And none of them thought to think, we're supposed to be in there protecting that girl. All 4 of them, or whatever the number were. Nah, something is not adding up. It's not adding up. And I want us to seriously consider that. Honestly, something is not adding up. And that's why I'm, you know me, Archbishop will help me. I'm a town crier. I see something, I have to say it. Even if it's one child that is saved, but hopefully it's going to save multiple children. This is not right. It shouldn't be happening, but let's educate our children. We know the bias that is out there. We know the prejudice that is out there. Let's be proactive. So what can I do? What should I be doing to safeguard my children? Number 1, do what that woman did. She told her son and her daughter, nobody should ever search you without our presence. That's the language, that is the lesson we should be teaching our children as well. Now, what does this duty of care, what does it include? Let me read one of the first things that include duty of care. It includes physical safety. So they are responsible, every staff in that school, when we drop off our children, they are responsible for the physical safety of our children. Preventing injury on the school grounds, e.g. safe equipment, supervision, responding appropriately to accident or medical needs, ensuring students are not exposed to dangerous situations. Oh, that girl was exposed, man. She was exposed to something she shouldn't have been exposed to. They allow people to treat her in a way that she should never have been treated. So the school, as part of the duty of care, they owe you and I and those children physical safety, so that you and I can have a peace of mind that responsible, appropriate adults are looking after our children while we go off to work. The same way that we wouldn't entrust our children to somebody that we couldn't guarantee their safety with, even when they're in our home or we've taken our children to somebody else's home. If we can't guarantee the safety of our children, then we shouldn't be taking our children to that place. So there is a legal and moral responsibility that the environment, the physical environment, is safe for the school ground, the equipment, the medical needs, all those things, so that every child is safe. What's the next one? Emotional and psychological well-being. They destroyed that girl's one. Emotional and psychological well-being is part of duty of care of the school. They have an emotional and psychological well-being duty, protecting students from bullying, discrimination, or harassment. Protecting children from bullies, discrimination, or harassment, being sensitive to mental health needs, treating students with respect and fairness. I don't know how many of us, because many of us send our children to school every day, but I don't actually know how many of us know this duty of care responsibility. Many of us just think, once they've gone to school, if they didn't do this, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It is not okay. The law doesn't think it's okay. That's why there's a legal requirement. So the physical safety is needed. The emotional and psychological well-being is part of the duty of care. That they make sure that their mental well needs are catered for. And that's why you see, if a child is struggling mentally and all those kind of things, learning difficulties and all that, you will see the school will kick in, make the provision, make the arrangement, whatever that child needs. That because it's their legal obligation. Now, some of us, we're just like, oh, I don't want to trouble anybody. Oh, I just don't want to. Please, if that's your mentality and that's the way you're thinking, let me tell you the other side of that. Because the other side of that is you're saying they can basically treat the children any way they want. It's okay. And I'm saying, please, don't be complacent. It's not okay. If the law deems it fit and right that these things should be in place for our children, then I am going to have to say that is how it's supposed to be. The law didn't just put those things there just for the sake of putting it there. There is a reason why the law put those things in place. And I'm saying, since they have bothered to put those things in place, then we need to ensure that those things are definitely in place. We shouldn't, oh, sorry, something happened. Okay, sorry about that. We shouldn't be making excuses or allowances or letting it slide. Please don't let it slide. Because if you let it slide, they will do it to another child. And what happens if that child is not strong enough? Oh, I can't be bothered. Well, if you can't be bothered, then what you're saying is it's okay for them to continue to behave the way they're doing. No, the law, I didn't put those laws there. The government did, the society did, the community did to safeguard our children. And if they're not safeguarding them, then we need to speak up. We don't become complacent or part of the problem. Number 3, safeguarding against abuse. That's part of their duty of care. They are supposed to report concerns of abuse, neglect, or exploitation, ensuring staff do not abuse their power or position, working within child protection policies and laws. Working within child protection policies and laws. That's why I said you're not supposed to allow it to slide. Don't let it slide. Oh, they're going to say my own is too much. Oh, they'll say black people has come again. Oh, they'll say you are the one. Oh, they'll pick on my child. No, the law was put in there for a reason, to safeguard your children. And if you let it slide, that is you allowing them to do it to another child another time. The law did not say it should slide. That's why the law says all the staff must be working within the child protection policies and laws. That's part of their duty of care to your children. We need to know this. For things that you make slide, that's one child that is traumatized. That's one child that's having to battle something that they shouldn't need to battle. And lastly, they have educational duty. So they have a physical duty, they have emotional and psychological well-being duty, they have safeguarding against abuse duty, and they have educational duty. What's the educational duty? That they will provide equal access to learning for every child, no discrimination, for every child in the school, and meeting learning and support needs of every child, whether disabled, whether struggling, whether mentally challenged, whatever. That is their legal obligation to do what? Meet the educational duties that is fit for every child. So it's not just to teach them 1, 2, 3s or ABCs. No. I mean, that's the focal point of most of us. That's the way most of us think about it. Oh, they're going to school to get an education. Yeah, that is true. That is the primary goal. But once you're entrusting a child, it's just the same way as if you and I took our child to a daycare, to a nursery. There's a law that legally kicks in from the moment we drop our child in that daycare or in that nursery. Even if we hired a childminder, an au pair, or a nanny in our home, the same law is still applicable. They have a legal responsibility. I even remember many, many, many years ago, I can't remember the name of the girl. There was one British girl that went from here to America. Do you remember that case where she shook a baby and the baby died? Does anybody remember that case? I wonder whether Auntie Cecilia remember that case. This is almost like 30 years ago. It's over 25 years ago. There was one young British girl that went to America to go and be a nanny or an au pair. And there was supposed to have been a shaking. The baby was supposed to have been shaken. It was a huge, sensational international case. She was a nanny. I think she was just above age. I think she was an adult. They didn't say, oh, because she has come into their house to look after the child. No, it was a full-blown legal case because she had a duty of care to the children or child that they were entrusted into her care. And I'm saying the same thing to us as well, that we need to know what that is. 4 things: physical, emotional, psychological, educational duty, and safeguarding against abuse. Those are the 4 things under the duty of care that every teacher signs up to abide by every time they take up a post or a job in a school to educate our children. We need to know that. If we don't know that, we cannot hold them accountable. We cannot hold them up to scrutiny. We cannot hold them up to that standard. So if I don't know something is in place, that they're going against what's in place, they will keep getting away with it because I didn't know that there was something even protecting. There is. And that's what I'm saying right now, that we need to know these things so that if they are not standing up to those things, you have a legal right to ask questions, just like the woman that I mentioned about last week, because of the way they treated her daughter, even though her daughter had nothing to do with the people that had just finished smoking weed before coming into the school, the way she's treated, she has escalated the matter because they had a duty of care to her daughter that was not rendered. Everybody, I think this is a good place to rest for today. I don't know, maybe I'll do some posts. I'll post some of these things again on our Instagram just to jog some of our memory. What is duty of care? What is adultification bias? So that we know and we understand and we can share with other families and friends so that they themselves can be on the lookout so that we can safeguard our children against all these evil things that are out there. So, everybody, I want to say thank you as always. So, if the Lord permits, we hope to be with you again tomorrow. So, on behalf of myself, Archbishop, and my boss, we are leaving you in the most capable hands of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I pray none of us will ever know this kind of sorrow or wickedness in the mighty name of Jesus. Have a wonderful day, morning or night, wherever you are. Take care.